If by Monday, 13th of April 2025, 9 a.m. on the dot, Professor Prof Amupitan do not tender his resignation from the office of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, by 10:30 a.m., we expect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to suspend him from office pending investigations and forensic analysis of the allegations against him. Of course, we know that there is no lie in whatever allegation is on him at the moment. But in case both of these criminals refuse to do what is necessary, we will mobilize the highest force of Nigerians around the world to draw the world's attention to the nonsense happening in Nigeria. We will not afford to sit back and allow taxpayers' money to be used for a coronation. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to employ, wants to engage, wants to hire, or appoint his son, let him do. But we cannot allow sand to be etching our eyes inside water. We have taken this for too long. Enough is enough. Somehow, we have to stop talking and put actions into our words. We will mobilize again. I put that very clearly. We will mobilize the highest force of Nigeria. Wherever you are and you are an APC apologist, you are a sympathizer to Bola Ahmed Tinubu government, you may need to renew your subscription because by next week, unfailingly, Nigerians will be ready to draw the world's attention. We will do it across all countries where we have got footprints, where we have got legs, where we have got voices, where we have got interest, to tell the world that this nonsense that Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to do with 2027 election cannot stand. It doesn't happen. It cannot happen, and Nigeria will not be the first. A known public sympathizer, enabler of election malpractices, and an apologist of the All Progressives Congress cannot conduct an election. I know for a fact that the 2027 election will be the most important election in the history of Nigeria. Forget about what you have been told. That election is a do or die election, is a make or my election, and we are going to take it very serious. But we cannot assume to get into the field where we can already sense that there will be no neutrality by the Independent National Electoral Commission, where there's no credibility of the umpire himself. This is nonsense. We not even take all of these tweets and public statements here and there. It is disrespectful. If you say, if you want to serve the people and the people say you should not serve them, why are you forcing yourself on them? We trust that Bola Ahmed Tinubu can also hire another APC man. But for you, that we have caught, we have seen your hand in the pot of soup. Remove it right now. We want you out of that office. Professor Prof Amupitan, this is Nigerians. On behalf of Nigeria, I am speaking to say, resign from the office of chairman of INEC and step aside. You are not fit. You are not qualified, and then you have soiled your hands. You have shown that you do not even deserve to be in an office as neutral as INEC. For all we care, Bola Ahmed Tinubu can appoint you as a minister. He can give you any board, but not in INEC. This nonsense has to stop. All of these rhetorics, all of these lies and propaganda being pushed around, it has been confirmed. We do not need forensic audit to tell us what the truth is. We have seen it. Your defense is the most watched defense ever in the world. Nigerians are calling for you to whether resign. And if you don't have any form of honorability in you to resign, let the man who appointed you ask you to step aside. Enough is enough. I say this again. Nigerians around the world, we mobilize in full force and draw the world's attention to the nonsense happening in Nigeria. The bedrock of any country's growth and development is primarily on elections. The process must be the first port of call. And we have seen that with all of the back and forth we've had as a country, the only way we can get our leadership right is to get our elections right. And if we can possibly see, my people say where I come from, that if dirty too full soup, even blind man will see. We have seen this happen over and over again, but we have kept quiet for too long. And we are hoping, believing, praying, all of that has stopped. We want Nigeria, we are paying more attention to this like never before. And now that we have seen this public sympathy, this unapologetic partisanship, this supportship for the APC, you are not fit, you are not qualified, you are not credible enough, you do not have the brand or the personality to sit in the office of INEC chair. Enough is enough. By 9 a.m., Amupitan resign. If you don't, by 10:30, Bola Ahmed Tinubu should suspend you from office. We even asked the Nigerian Police Force to investigate all of the activities of Amupitan since he has become INEC chair, because we feel strongly that a lot of things have been altered and so many things are wrong. It has become necessary that Amupitan is brought in for investigations, and most likely he should be prosecuted. You cannot have an interest in a matter and then you sit to try to adjudicate on it. It is wrong. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has again shown that he's not a Democrat. It is unfortunate for those of you that has ever thought that there was anything good going to come out from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is him. He has again exposed himself to being a man that is criminal in nature, appointing a known sympathizer of his party into INEC. There is nothing more to add. Amupitan, 13th April, 9 a.m. resign. Tinubu, if he doesn't, suspend him and sack him. If you people do not, the Nigerian people will not speak further. Have a beautiful day ahead.
That INEC was acting a script, and it's okay. A asks for, Mr. X asks for A. Y asks for B. Okay, I will not give Y, I will give B. I'll clear off here. That was the logic of, it looks like contrived. Somebody cooks it up. This guy's play to their hand, ask for this guy to be restrained. INEC's okay. This one say, INEC, remove everybody. INEC, it's just like the example we had with Solomon and the baby that died, and the woman who didn't have a real claim says, you know what, cut this baby. I said, let me cut it. So that's what INEC has done. So okay, since people will say we should allow Rafiu as people, and other people say we should remove you guys. Okay, what to do? Now that Rafiu, we have removed you guys. I think it sounds like a script hatched by the opposition, by the ruling party, to stop the momentum that for now is on the side of the opposition party.
What do you make of INEC saying that let the judicial process continue?
Game plan. So is there a point where so-called neutrality becomes dangerous? Yes. I mean, when INEC dribbles or get dribbled into where it's now clear that maybe no candidate is emerging, because either by rules, either by order from courts. And by the way, everything INEC is doing wrong, or anything INEC will do, or anything that happen to election negatively, at the heart of it is the court. That in my view, seem to the other Nigeria as captured. The court will give INEC the slam. They give in basketball. They will give them the ball, to set it up properly for them to slam. INEC will now slam it. They will give an order that INEC will now purportedly to implement. They will do. So you're going to see that dual striker force of INEC at the court that will damage the election and help the APC rulebook to come to pass. My concern is, look, the best thing we can have in Nigeria is a free and fair election that sustains or at least prevents the scepter of coups that have been happening in West Africa. We just sit with some sense of presumption that, maybe because we have oil money we can share, that we're not going to be overrun by chaos or collapse or violent conflict or even military coup that succeeds. I don't have that faith. I think that the system is so fragile. I think we're almost like overrun by militia. We are struggling with terrorists. We are struggling with insurgents locally, people who are angry with the country, like Nigerians, whether in the southwest, whether in the southeast, whether in the north. We are struggling with poor economic performance. We are struggling with an elite that is criminal in their greed. So if you put all this together with a very terrible election, I'm not sure we'll survive. So my prayer is that somehow INEC will wake up from sleep, or wake up from pretense of being asleep, and really pull itself to say, look, the first guarantor of fair and fair election in West Africa is that the electorate of the INEC will be against the ruling party. If INEC is in bed with the ruling party, which is a phenomenon that's common, you will never have fair and fair election.
What do you make of having an Atiku and Obi, Kwakwanso, Amechi on the same platform, and all of them almost being frozen out by the actions and inactions of INEC? Are we likely to watch an opposition that will just wake up and discover that they've been surgically dismantled by a compromised institution?
And that will may likely happen. And again, see, it's supposed to be a great thing to have these great leaders in one opposition party. We always wanted to have, like in Senegal, if you have a ruling party strong, you have an opposition party that brings together everybody to fight and you win. And that's good for democracy. So when we talk about opposition, it's not like we love the people in opposition. That a strong opposition is good for democracy. That creates that competitiveness, which is at the heart of democratic theory. We then put this now, since 2023, has become a joke. It's difficult to know. I mean, laughable. P2B was a Labour Party where, according to him, they fought him, destroyed the party. We don't want you. And people are laughing at P2B. I said, he couldn't manage party. He couldn't manage his Labour Party. Now, what did he say to David Mark and Atiku and others who are now in ADC? Do you know what I'm making? So it wasn't about P2B. There was a submarine, a strike force that's going about striking down wherever you see, whatever that strike force is. So Labour gone down. PDP was taken around, maybe bringing back Jonathan or bringing back P2B. PDP gone down. ADC now looks like it's going down, or they're hitting them down again. So the notion that these parties are failing because their leaders are poor managers is wrong. There are several instances. How can suddenly all the parties begin to fail? We didn't have those failures in previous elections from 1999. APP did not fail. There were no interminable leadership crisis, even though PDP was in power. PDP was in power. APC, of course, you see people drift towards the ruling party because of payouts. But the party had stability. They were not fighting, endless fight. Somebody doesn't come up and say, I'm the chairman, and I'm this and that. 100 cases, and then injunction, uncertainty. When we now saw ACN came into 2014, APC rather, to challenge PDP, Jonathan did not send people to challenge the leadership. Nobody came and said they were chairman. The party grew, the party worked hard and was able to defeat PDP. But today, in 2023, from 2023 to today, what we now see is that all the managers of parties are now incompetent. So is it a happenstance, coincidence, that from Tinubu's era, party leadership management in Nigeria became incompetence writ large. So no party is able to organize itself. For the first time, we're now seeing claimants of chairmanship. We've now seen neck of parties dissolved. We're now seeing PDP has their own neck, PDP has two neck, different BOT. These things have to be explained. They cannot be the result of a sudden wave of incompetent party management. The people who are running this party, but people who are running the parties before. The two of us, that's the same guys. That's the same people. Anyway, all these guys are President David Mark were Senate President 2 times. So when did Amechi, who is now in the ADC, was a campaign lead for APC when they won the election twice? Is that correct? So how did they just become incompetent? That all the parties have to fail. All the parties now have strong, visible claimants to alternative authority. All of them have a different BOT. People are claiming, people come from the woodwork, and then have BOT, and then get to work out. And interestingly, the judges who give decisions are like this, accountable. If it's a motor shop, it's Abdul Malik, it's over 3 or 4 people that give the judgments all the time.
All right, let's look at David Mark. If you look at his national stature, like you rightly pointed out, a former 2-time Senate president, look at his military background, the way INEC deleted his name like a jigger on the leg. Does it worry you, the kind of election we are heading towards 2027?
What I see from a social science analytics, not an interest, is chaos, rigging, incredibility. Because I think 2 things happen. 1 is time. Time for doing everything short. 2 is the highest level of desperation and manipulative leadership and very big disdain for rules or orderliness in politics. I mean, when the president is called Jagaban, maybe that's the price we pay. It means it's a generalissimo in the art of taking hostages in politics. And the first hostage is INEC now. The court, I think, is a hostage. So it worries me. It's not even about David Mark, who is a well-established guy, but also about the possibility that we might get to where, all the incidents or features of democratic elections are over. And then, we get an outcome that further complicates our problem. I'm always concerned about development. Election is a means to an end. Yes, election is an end. People exercise their rights, whether good or bad, but it's also a means to an end. It's a means of political change, of stability, of development. And so my worry is that we are getting a politics that undermines and underserves all these critical values.
Can you take us through all that transpired, or some of the things that transpired that led you into saying that the INEC chairman, all he said, does not inspire hope and confidence?
It happened a couple of weeks ago, but I just instituted this today. And I was sent, I think David Mark was supposed to be part of the panelists with some of the chairman of APC and Labour Party and a couple of other chairmen. But for some reason, he has a personal respect for me and liking him. He asked that I should stand in for him, not as a member or leader of ADC, but on personal, respect that I should go. So I got there. Now, when I got there and I listened to the chairman of Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, what I didn't see, let me say what I saw. What I saw was like somebody who didn't quite understand the landscape before he came. Now, this is an INEC that overpromised, that had very high civic society support, INEC that had built up reputation and had some innovations leading to 2023 elections. So, and the civil society fought for electoral reform, and they got what they wanted. They got a clear language on electronic transmission of election. They got a clear language that they themselves will decide the mode. And INEC went ahead and decided the mode, which is direct transmission from polling units to the IREF, which is the INEC result viewing portal, and of course the INEC electronics storage, if you like, collection center. And this INEC inexplicably failed to do that. I went to court to say, well, what we promised that we're going to do and backed by a regulation, we are free to walk away from it. And the court somehow said, blah, 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 yes. Now, from being a new chairman in that context, the first challenge is to inspire back.
Who is afraid of ADC's participation in the 2027 election?
Answer. Who do you think is afraid of their participation in the election?
The people who say they won election in 2023.
And who are those people?
APC and Mr. Tinubu.
Why should they be afraid of ADC?
Yes, because they know they didn't win that last time. And even right now, their popularity has dwindled more than ever. They have gotten as many governors as they want, but yet they are losing more and more, millions of Nigerians, every day. And I think that's the fear that is out there, and everything they're doing to ensure that Nigeria becomes a one-party state. We can't have that. You can't have a democracy that people died for, and you come all of a sudden, you're taking us back to the era of who the cap feeds. No, there's no who the cap feeds here. What we have is a democracy, and in a democracy there has to be opposition. And for INEC to be so brazen and Professor Amupitan to do what he did, it's unbelievable. Here you have someone who is not just a lawyer, he's a son, he's a professor. That's someone who you would think would do everything by the letter of the law, comes out to behave in such should I say rascally manner. It's shocking in the way that someone who is supposed to be a professor of law would actually do what he had done. INEC should remember that there is an independence in the eye, even though right now INEC has shown in his action that the only independence that it has is the eye in its name. It should remember that and stay and be an institution and not be a stooge for certain people. INEC should be in a position where they are unbiased, they stand as umpire and not a voice or an arm of APC, and invariably Mr. Tinubu.
I heard Lukman, a stalwart of the APC, here. I discussed with him. The ADC, he said that the ADC congresses, April is scheduled for April 9 to 12, National Convention 14, primaries 23 to 30, this April, submission of membership register May 10, and all other activities of the party will go on regardless. That's what he said. The case comes up in court on April 27. Convention is 14. Do you affirm what he said? And don't you think if your party goes ahead, it will be an effort in futility?
Well, it's not for me to affirm. I will leave that for the leadership of the party,
okay,
to speak on that. But you can see in the way and manner that everything has been structured. It goes in the way that everything is being done to disenfranchise the African Democratic Congress. And of course, you see that the INEC chairman did have an interview, sat down, reclined on the chair to talk about the fact that what they're going to do in a way that preempt a decision it seems that they have already made. Because it's saying something about, if they go ahead with this, even when they win the election, they're not going to declare them winners. He has already taken sides, and that's the thing that should concern concern every Nigerian, and not just every Nigerian, every lover of democracy across the world. Because we're saying deliberately the real opposition party, the major opposition party in Nigeria today, is being disenfranchised, and they're looking for everything to ensure that they do not feel a candidate. That's not what democracy is all about. Democracy is not about one person who feels that, oh, there shouldn't be any opponent, that they should be the only ones who are out there. Democracy is about you being able to persuade the people, in spite of the number of parties or participants that are out there. You should have done so much for you to use that to persuade the people and ask for to be voted for. It's not by bullying everybody out of the way. And you can see the timeline, because there's no time. And one thing that we must understand also is the fact that our party, the African Democratic Congress, has written to INEC, has informed INEC of the congresses that are going to come up. But beyond, and INEC acknowledge the receipt of that. And this whole turnaround is something that is absolutely worrisome, and most especially as we go into the primaries, because there's a short time within which the parties are supposed to present candidates, and we know what the rules are in Nigeria. Nobody can run on their own. People have to be fielded by parties, and right now the African Democratic Congress, ADC, is being denied that opportunity. That's what they want to do, but we would not allow that happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the danger, So, okay, before I ask this question, what is ADC? Because apparently there's water on the mountain, like they say, for ADC. What plans, this case comes up, like I said, I think it's on the 17th or so. What plans does ADC have now to probably forestall the things you have said, accused or alleged INEC, the ruling party, is trying to do to it? What plans does ADC have now?
I don't think it's something that is alleged that the ruling party, the INEC, is trying to do. INEC is already doing it, and we're seeing the way in which they are stopping ADC from going on with something that has a very short window of time. The African Democratic Congress, the ADC, of course, has putting in a lot of things in place and working within the ambit of the law to ensure that this whole illegality is not allowed to stand. And so the courts are there also to ensure that there's a hearing that comes up before the actual date that is there to interpret this particular ruling that INEC has decided to bring its own counter ruling and do what they want to do rather than what the courts have assigned them to do. And so the party, the ADC, it's putting everything it can within the ambit of the law to ensure that this disenfranchisement is not allowed to stand. And I think it's something that should also worry not just members of the party. I'm a member of ADC, but as concerned Nigerians should be worried. Nigerians have the right to be given competent candidates, not just one party believing that they own everything. And if you've noticed from 2015 till date, this has been the mode of operation of the APC. They've done this all the time. So every time that there is a party, that stands against them, they do everything to put it's sort of like you always find leadership crisis that has their hand in it going on, and it's been going on. I mean, that whole there's a place, that whole playbook, they should drop it and man up and sit up. And if they think they have it, because they're always proud of telling us that they have 30-something governors. How can you have 30-something governors and you're still this scared and still afraid? Right. Just let's go to the polls, and that's it.
And try our strength. There's also the question of deregistration hanging like a sort of Damocles on the neck of the ADC. A swift court ruling could restore clarity. Proceeding with INEC could trigger fresh litigation. Without INEC could trigger fresh litigation. A negotiated settlement could calm tensions. A deregistration ruling could end it all. Each part carries risk, none offers certainty. What is your thinking on what I have just talked about?
My thinking is that one institution should be independent. And if you have institutions that are independent, not the one that you're hearing people being threatened, because there are reports, of course, where you see that the INEC chairman was threatened into making the decision that he made in removing the leadership, of ADC.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's why I said reports. And the reports are there. They are public. It's not something that I'm the only one who has information. It's public. And it's also saying, reports that INEC officials were given were bribed with monies, some up to $50,000. The reports are out there. You've also seen where they're saying that lands have been given. And then you begin to wonder, where is EFCC in all of this? Where is ICPC in all of this? These are things that should concern. And you see the judiciary also, a judiciary where there's no independence. The judiciary has turned itself into the plate of corrupt politicians, and that's not what it should be. You're having places where houses are being built for them, where all sorts of meetings are going on and stuff like that. Then that's what worries every one of us. If there is independence, if there's accountability, transparency, we don't have all of this shenanigans going on, then let the ruling, let's all go to court and have whatever it is there. But when you see the institutions and also the judiciary have turned itself into weapon of oppression, willing tool of oppression against opposition parties, then that's something that worries us and the democracy of our country. And this democracy, by the way, many people died for it for us to have what we have today. And we cannot have a few people come and destroy it just because they want to hang onto power that they are not deserving of.
This is a very ugly development, and I want Nigerians to take note. The credibility of the current INEC chairman to conduct the 2027 general elections has been hit by a major blow, and is, of course, an own goal. Old tweets of his showing unapologetic loyalty, supportship, partisanship biases to Bola Tinubu, the APC, and elections conducted for his stooges and proteges have now resurfaced online And this is quite very disheartening, very heartbreaking. For so many persons, they are not shocked because events in the last couple of weeks have shown that Professor Amupitan has a hatchet job to do for the APC and Bola Tinubu, and he has been carrying that out in preparation for the 2027 elections. But of course, the problem now is that with this information out there, nobody can trust INEC and Professor Amupitan to conduct 2027 elections, and this is the situation. So the tweets that resurfaced online were made of the current national youth leader, Pastor Dayo Israel. And then I'll read these tweets and then tell you what now followed. Today, I rejoice not just for delivering my polling unit, but for winning 7 out of 10 polling units in my nearly Igbo-dominated community where APC have never won. They always vote opposition, but this time, I sat with the youth of the community and forged a partnership. Today, we won 7 out of 10 polling units. First time in history, never happened before, never. Under that particular tweet was a very visible tweet endorsing it and celebrating it, and it was written, it was expressed victory. Is sure. Guess who made that particular tweet? Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan with the handle Joash Amupitan at Joash Amupitan. Now, that tweet resurfaced online today, and Nigerians have started to investigate to know what was happening. So, of course, Grok, the AI tool for verifications and verifications on X, was used, and it was shocking to see. Grok, is this the real handle of the current INEC chairman? Grok responded with, yes, Joash Amupitan is the real X handle of the current INEC chairman, Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan, SA. He was sworn in October 23, 2025, succeeding Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. His bio matches official record from INEC, Nigeria.org, and government announcement. Now, immediately that particular tweet resurfaced online, they quickly went to lock and protect the account and then changed the name to at Sunday Vibe 00 parody account. All of this to hide the fact. But Nigerians are already taking note of these developments. And what is even more worrisome is the fact that the account was now protected, because a parody account shouldn't be protected. X permits for parody accounts, and if it is a parody account, you will not protect it. You don't need to lock it. I'm sure they are doing a lot of cleanup behind the scene, because screenshots before the account was locked already indicated that Joash Amupitan had screenshotted or has reposted current INEC Nigeria activities. That's the current X handle of INEC Nigeria has been reposting it. So it means that there are affiliations. A parody account will not go to that extent. And like I said, assume it's even a parody account. Why are you locking it? Why are you protecting it? This calls for concerns, and I want Nigerians to be as diligent as it were in following this case. A lot of persons will say they are not surprised, but this is a clear bias shown publicly. This particular tweet was made in 2023. After the gubernatorial elections in Lagos. Of course, Babajide Sanwo-Olu went on to winning the elections. But that Professor Amupitan would have expressively, in this manner, publicly, declared, shown bias, shown partisanship, shown supportship for the APC, and this particular tweet is an indication that he should not be allowed to conduct an election. INEC is supposed to be neutral and very credible. INEC is supposed to be truly independent, and somebody who has shown this level of partisanship or bias cannot be allowed to lead INEC into a major election for Nigeria. I know that in the usual way that Nigeria does her things, this will not be handled. This will not be spoken about. There will be one discrediting or one show off information or one public information. We do not even want the INEC system or the INEC organization to respond to this. We want Professor Amupitan to respond and show us how he is not linked with this particular account. I know a lot of things are going on behind the scene, but clearly, if Professor Amupitan has any iota of integrity and he will be respected, he needs to honorably resign and step aside.
Dear Nigerians, INEC chairman is an APC member. Now, let me explain. Now, look at this tweet up there. Dayo Israel, the APC member that you know, the national youth leader of the APC, tweeted in 2023 that today I rejoice not just for delivering my polling units, but for winning 7 of the 10 polling units in my nearby Igbo-dominated community where APC have never won. They always vote opposition. By this time, I sat with the youth of the community. Guess who replied to this tweet? Joash Amupitan, the current INEC chairman. Guess what he replied? He said, victory is sure. Victory is sure. Though he's currently denying these accounts right now on Twitter. He denies no be him, that he's not affiliated to any party. Well, let's go and ask AI now. But let's ask AI if it's true. They ask AI if that account is truly owned by Joash Amupitan. AI say yes, Joash Amupitan existed on X. It belonged to Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan, the INEC chairman. He showed the account ID. AI also showed Grok showed the account ID created on September 2022. The username changed to Sunday Vibe. They changed the username. The username changed. See, Grok showed it. You know they lie. So INEC chairman created another account to deny that tweet on April 2026. Now this month, he go create another account just to deny the former accounts. Now let's go back and explain it further. A few weeks ago, the INEC chairman Joash Amupitan came up that they want to revalidate your permanent voters card. They want to revalidate your permanent voters card. That everybody, if you have your permanent voters card, you need to come and revalidate it. Immediately he said that everybody will verse. Everybody come and say why? Everybody started asking questions. We verse, we rant. You now realize that they don't go take this one. No. Now, the same Joash Amupitan came back again. You remember they deleted the tweets, but today now, they've put official statements stating that they have postponed the revalidation of the PVC till after 2027 general election. So they could actually do it after election before, but they wanted to do it before election so that they can disfranchise people from voting. APC member. The reason why I'm telling Nigerians this is that so that you know that the current INEC chairman is not playing a fair game. He is not neutral. He is not independent. He is an alleged APC member. And guess what? He is also appointed by the president of Nigeria, who is also an APC member. In fact, he is the leader of All Progressive Congress, APC. Do you think he will work against or play a fair game when his boss, who appointed him, is in the party? Then Nigerians, we must come out, demand for accountability. We must shout, we must vent, we must hold those people accountable, or else this election coming in 2027 is not going to be a fair game. In fact, Yakubu Mahmoud will be a child's play, will be a saint to what Joash Amupitan will do to Nigerians, or will do in 2027 election. In fact, if there will be a fair election, Nigerians, after voting, we must stay. We must follow Amupitan to the coalition center. We must follow Amupitan to where they will count the vote. We must mount ICC 2 by 2. See, Nigerians, it cannot ever be peaceful. You know, they're peaceful because those people, they are not peaceful with us. We'll go follow them to wherever they're going to count their votes and we'll be there with them. Nigerians, brace up. This year election is not going to be a play. It's not going to be a neutral field, though. It is APC against Nigerians. Anyway, not going to tell what to do. This Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must reclaim it back in every way legal possible. We must do it.
That's what they call INEC. According to the news, APC fought ADC call for resignation of INEC chairman Amupitan. This guy should not be INEC chairman, not be INEC chairman. This guy is APC chairman. Let this guy be let put as INEC. Imagine they put APC member as INEC chairman. So they never say anything. In a law whereby president would appoint INEC chairman, does it even make sense? Are we even normal? How can a president be appointed? It means that you are appointing for a position. Make a no election for you. How does that look like? Like you are appointing for this position, make a receive billions. You can't make a no election for you. Or anything. President go appoint chief of army staff, chief of navy staff, inspector general police, chief of justice. Abiwati. Only one people go appoint the whole team support this country. Tell me how this country will be like this. Now you walk and say, who appoint me as INEC chairman? Make a do the plane, make the person come up for position. Now you go do it. The law, our law need to be changed. Need to be worked on.
With all these controversies surrounding the newly appointed INEC chairman and votes of no confidence from Nigerians, I think he needs to resign. Because from all indications, he behaves as if he's acting a script. He appears to be battling with pressure from some quarters. And obviously, a man under pressure cannot give Nigerians a credible election in 2027. And again, until the appointment of INEC chairman is no longer a function of the sitting president, we may never have a credible election in this country. Executive influence is one of the major problems of INEC as a commission that is expected to be neutral and non-partisan. The chairman is always dancing to the tune of his appointer.